The story unfolds in a high school football match with a boy named Isagi Yoichi, charging towards his opponent post with the ball. While he runs, he continues to reiterate the fact that he wishes to play at the Nationals, and must score this goal in order to do so. Getting to the post, he sees a teammate of his by his side and asking for the ball. Remembering what his coach had said about a soccer team being made up of 11 players, he chooses to pass the ball. However, that didn't seem like a wise decision, since his teammate's shot hit the post, causing a rebound that takes the ball to the opponent, who wastes no time in initiating a counterattack. The ball gets to the leg of the star player of the opponent's team, Kira, and he utilizes it well, and ends up scoring a goal. After the match, Isagi is distraught that his team had lost and is angrier at the fact that he passed the ball as opposed to taking the shot on his own. When he gets home later in the day, his parents hand him a letter that they had just received, informing him of his selection into the Japan Football Union. Seeing this, he wonders why he had been chosen when he had thought himself to be an unnoticed talent. The next day, he heads to the Japan Football Union building and is at first skeptical about going in. Just then, Kira calls out his name and informs him that he has also been selected. Furthermore, Kira commends his game and style of play and wishes that Isagi was his teammate, since it would mean that he would get enough passes to score goals. After that, they make their way into the building. Getting in, they see the place packed with a lot of boys their age. At that moment, they realize that they weren't the only ones selected, and that all the boys in the building were strikers like them. While waiting, a creepy-looking man named Igo Jinpachi steps out to congratulate them, and introduces himself as the man hired to make sure Japan wins the World Cup. He informs them about a project called Blue Lock, which had been designed to produce the best striker in the world. However, he states that the project would be strenuous and would only produce one player amongst the 300 of them present to become a world-renowned striker. At first, they all disagree with him, stating that they all have their own individual teams and are not willing to embark on a project such as that. But he breaks down the fact that every good striker isn't bound by a team, but by their ability to score goals even at the expense of their team. He assures them that he only wishes to create the greatest striker in the world who would dominate the sport of soccer. While the others continue to ponder on it, Isagi wastes no time as he charges into the Blue Lock facility. After that, the other boys run in with him, as they all have their eyes set on becoming the best striker the world has ever known. At the facility, Isagi finds that he is being placed in the same room as Kira. This makes him relieved since he would at least have someone he knows beside him. While the players get familiar with themselves, Jinpachi informs them that he has ranked them, and their specific ranking numbers are reflected on their uniforms. Looking at this, Isagi is shocked to be ranked at 299, just one short of the last position. However, they are informed that their rankings can change over time. For their first training, he tasks them with playing a game of tag using just their legs and a ball. Unfortunately, there is a time limit, and once the time runs out, the last hit person will be sent out of the facility. The last ranked number, Igarashi, decides to begin the game and succeeds in hitting someone. While the game goes on, the ball hits Isagi, and he is desperate not to be the last hit player. However, he gets a chance to hit Igarashi, but passes on it since he only wishes to take out someone higher than him. Just then, he sets his sights on Bachira, a higher ranked player than him, but surprisingly, Bachira takes the ball from him and decides to hit Kira. He misses his first attempt, but Kira dodges the ball very well. However, with Kira still on the run, he passes the ball to Isagi, who in the heat of the moment kicks it at Kira. Getting hit by the ball surprises Kira. Also, he is more surprised at the fact that Isagi, whom he had thought to be the only one he knows in the facility, is the one who kicked it at him. Isagi, on the other hand, apologizes to him, trying to explain that the ball came at him from nowhere, and he had to react. But Kira doesn't care about what he has to say. Just then, Jinpachi tells the losers to lock off and leave the facility, which would mean that they never have a chance to play for the national team. Hearing this causes Kira to be very angry. He wonders how a meager game like this would determine his future, especially since he was clearly more talented than a bunch of players there. Meanwhile, Jinpachi makes him understand that he had the time to shoot the ball at someone else, but he didn't. He commends Isagi and Bachira for their choices to kick the ball at a stronger person instead of shooting it at Igarashi. After hearing this, he furiously steps out of the room. With Kira gone, Isagi asks Bachira why he had earlier passed the ball to him, and Bashira reveals that he knew Isagi would kick it. This still doesn't seem to answer Isagi's question. Shortly after, Jinpachi commends them for their efforts and informs them that they have just passed the entrance exams. Furthermore, he tells them that the 11 of them left will have to compete against others in some instances and betray themselves too. That night, Isagi is unable to sleep as he ponders on the happenings of the day. Determined to come out on top, he steps out into the training ground. On his way, he meets Bashira, who invites him to train with him. Still bothered about the fact that Bashira has passed the ball on to him earlier, Isagi asks him one more time why he had done so. In response, he talks about a monster that talks to him while he plays football, informing him of his next actions. He claims the monster had asked him to pass the ball to Isagi, who is also said to have the same monster inside him too. While training, they are informed that the results of the latest test have been verified, and they have to return to their rooms to check their latest rankings. Checking his, Isagi's realizes that he had gone from 299 to 274, and Igarashi, who was in 300th position previously, now ranked 275. Seeing Isagi's ranking makes Igarashi feel like Isagi was his biggest competition. To clarify their rankings, Jinpachi informs them that they had earlier been placed in 25 teams, and each team had lost a member, causing their numbers to be reduced to 275. This analysis makes Igarashi realizes that he hadn't moved in the rankings at all. On the other hand, Jinpachi informs them that their team is the least ranked team amongst the other teams and are called the Team Z. On the other hand, a top player named Itoshi Sei is disgusted at how bad Japanese football has proven to be compared to Europe. He believes that Japan has no forward good enough for his passes, and is sad to be born in what he terms the wrong country. While walking along the calls, he witnesses a press conference being held by Japan Football Union, talking about their plans to produce a top striker through the Blue Lock project. He finds this interesting, and this causes him to change his plans and stay in Japan. Back at the facility for the next class, Jinpachi informs the players that they will have to play as a team against each other. He urges them to create soccer from zero, and without wasting much time, Isagi's team, Team Z, walk out to meet their first opponent, Team X. Since they are all strikers, Team Z find it hard to allocate positions. They are more flustered at the instructions Jinpachi had given them earlier. Apparently, he had said only the winning teams would advance to the next stage, with the losers all leaving the facility. However, this is with the exception of the top scorers on the losing teams. After much contemplation, they decide to let Isagi play strike, and all take up different positions. With the issue of positions out of the way, they all headed out onto the field. When the match begins, Isagi tries to figure out whom to pass the ball to, when the ball gets collected by one of his teammates, Raichi, who is determined to score on his own since the rules had stated that the top scorers would advance. While he talks, another teammate takes the ball from him, leading to an argument from all the other players, including the player of Team X. Seeing them, Isagi ponders for a while about what to do. In the midst of the tussle, one of the players from Team X, Baru, takes the ball and runs toward the post. He successfully breaks through their poor defense and shoots the ball into the post. This goal causes his teammates to be very happy. Team Z, on the other hand, are angry that they have just conceded a goal, and Isagi tries to calm them, but they believe he is only doing so since he plays forward and would be the one to end up as the top scorer for their obviously losing team. He, however, ignores them and goes to pass the ball. Unfortunately, when he passes the ball to Bachira, Igarashi collects it and runs towards the opponent's post to score. After the ball is collected from him shortly after, it causes the members of his team to be very unhappy. Seeing Team Z having a meltdown provides a perfect opportunity for Team X to strike. They pass the ball to Raichi, who once again runs towards the opponent's post. Seeing Raichi with the ball, all the players in Team Z charge at him. But unsurprisingly, he passes it to a teammate of his after realizing that they were more focused on him, leading to another goal. With the goal tally going all the way up to 5, Team Z gets more frustrated. While they vent out their anger at each other, Isagi strategically understands their game. Then he devises a plan with Bachira, urging the latter to pass the ball to him while he runs to the opponent's post. The plan works out well, and Isagi is faced by just Raichi. While he contemplates between taking the short and attempting to dribble, Raichi, two of his teammates open up for him to pass the ball. After contemplating for a short while, he passes the ball to one of them, and he scores. However, his decision caused his teammates to be very angry at him, since they had expected to either take the shot or pass it to the other player, since he was more likely to score. After the match, they all decide to remove Isagi as striker, with each declaring their intention to replace him. However, while they argue, Isagi makes them know that they will keep losing if their egos don't align. He states that he had studied the last team they played against, and it had led them to win. In the midst of the talk, Jinpachi announces the scores of another team to be 8-0. Using this as a point of reference, he feels they have not really understood what it takes to turn 0 into 1. Then he tells them to make use of the individual weapons they possess as strikers in destroying their opponent, since that is what they are being trained to do. Before leaving, he tasks them with figuring out what they can do with their mind and body to begin the revolution of goal scoring. Did you enjoy today's recap? If you did, kindly like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can bring you the recap of the next episode. Until next time, do take care and stay safe.